Hello, howdy, and g'day. I'm going to start off with some good news. No, actually, we'll start off with some bad news, then good news, and then more bad news. Sorry about the hands, working on my motorbike, and haven't got time to clean up. Bad news, haven't seen the hedgehog for about 6-7 days now, a week or so. Fearing the worst, hoping for the best. Good news, Big Kid's Tiny Truck pack has arrived. And this one's going to be in no particular order. I'm just going to go for it. So get this guy out of the way. Extendable, cuttable drive shafts, nice and thin. Got a small catchment point. Just make sure when you're trimming it that you don't have too much dropout. What I mean by that is, if you have a look at the setup of this one, can you see that? So it looks like a lot of room to play with, but as that compresses, it uses almost all of the length. It's this female part that I'm talking about. It's quite small on these cuttables. See how it's only just that end part? Meaning if you cut that shaft slightly too small, it's going to drop out from the female. The male will come apart from the female. Don't want that, do we? Alright, so there's that. Oh yeah, this thing came together sweet too. I gave it a quick run without a body. She is mint. Awesome. All the plastics are army green, and the motor shocks and servo are all that kind of electric green. Love it. What else did we get? Okay, we got alloy motor mount for 12mm. I'm going to need that very shortly. I think there's another one in here somewhere. Yeah, and a carbon fibre jobby. Big Kid's Tiny Trucks, man, they're killing it. Cool parts. Got some rad little stickers. Know exactly where that one's going. Beautiful. A couple of servo horns. Got some rad colours, heaps of different shades and stuff. So I picked up the Bling Bling Blue and just a classic black and silver. Servo horns for 25 tooth. We'll pull this rig out. Old school Mofo chassis. And the Mofo chassis has blue and purple everywhere, but on some angles that blue turns into electric blue. And on the top you can see some green. So I made sure I threw some accents of green on the shocks. And I went with electric blue parts as well as standard blue. You know, just to pull out all the colour on the chassis and make sure that was incorporated. And now I've got the servo horn to match. Beautiful. Thank you all. What else did we get? Aha. RC Ritchie, keeping me entertained, man. They're cool little lives. Along with the cuttable drive shaft, I also got a shorty. Now, just like Mofo, Mofo and Big Kid's Tiny Trucks are the two off the top of my head that are doing independent sales for drive shafts. So you'll get, you won't get a set. You won't have to pay for that one you don't have, and you end up with, you know, a whole bunch of drive shafts that you just can't find a use for. You know, like, yeah. Especially if you're building your carrier bearing style rigs, you know, like this thing, where you're going to need 2 shorts and 1 long, or 2 shorts and a medium. You end up with plenty of deadbolts lying around. It's like, I don't need that. What I can do is go to Mofo or Big Kid's Tiny Trucks and just get a little shorty. Thank you very much. And of course we picked up the limited edition Veterans transmission. Rip that open now. Bam. What does she really look like? Let's have a, oh look, we've got heaps of, oh yeah, we've got some washers and we've got some of those standoffs for mounting it. Always good to have heaps of them spare. Yeah, heaps of them. I got number 34. Cool. Number 34 out of 100, I think they were. Gold transmission. And that is going to go... Oh, actually, before I show you, back to drive shafts. This is a drive shaft. Hans, Mini Mayhem. You might be interested in this one. If you are cutting down a drive shaft, or you need to go shorter than deadbolt, some of my clearance things when I flip transmissions around, you all know that a transmission has a short shaft on one side and a long shaft on the other. Depending on what orientation you have, sometimes you've got the longer one to the back on a carrier bearing style rig, and it means you might need a couple of mils shorter than a deadbolt. But I think Hans months ago now, he cut one down, and the engagement point inside the female, sometimes it doesn't extend all the way to the joint, so you run out of engagement for the male part to actually grip onto, and it just ends up spinning inside the female. This one, I took it apart and I got a pin and poked it in the end there, and I felt how far back the engagement goes. This is the Mias cuttable, extendable cut to length drive shaft. So if you do have to cut shorter than deadbolt, get the Mias cut to length, and its engagement point should go right to the very end, meaning you can shave down this female and get it really, really, really short. This one was cool too. Came together good. Yeah, everything's mint, everything's smooth, everything works. Plenty of steering. Got the trenches on there. Happy days with my custom link setup. Sweet, get that thing out of the way. Now the gold transmission is going with all my gold parts for my IERC build. So that can happily live in there. And the back part of this is about axles. So we started off bad, then plenty of good stuff, now we're going back to bad. Axles. What's my gripe with axles? Mias, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? I know a few people have come across these problems, and I'm starting to come across them myself. Straight out the gate, I will say that what I don't have a problem with is a good old version 1 Mias Super 8. That one. Comes in nylon if you're weight conscious or money conscious. Comes in alloy if you just like that good scale appeal. And comes in brass if you want a super performing rig and you want to go all heavy at the front end. Now, no proprietary parts except for the length of the axle shafts. Okay? I think they either come with dog bones or U-joints, I'm not sure, but I've always put U-joints in. They do sell CVDs as well if you like a smooth rotating wheel. So a U-joint may give you a bit of kind of like a slow point and then a fast point at high steering angles. I'm not too worried about that, it doesn't show up too much. But the CVDs, they tend to not have the steering angle that I'm trying to get. But I mean, Isokinetics and the Endura double jointed ones, I mean, look at the steering I'm getting off this. I don't need any more than that. I just don't need any more than that. Normally an isokinetic axle is just going to give you too much steering anyway. You're going to hit shocks and hit your links or throw your 63mm tyre into the chassis anyway. But what I am seeing is a lot of faults with axles, and I'm going to pick on Mias. Because they did me dirty, man. They did me dirty. The first thing that happened, I ordered 2 of these V1 fronts for a 4-wheel steer Yoda. See this? See this? It's because it's got one screw on one side and I can't for the life of me mount the other one up. Why? These axles are supposed to come with their own mount. The mount that perfectly fits the axle. It was proprietary. It was wider than all the other mounts. So this here, obviously it's a rear and it's a V2. But that's got a Hot Team link riser in it. It pokes up a bit higher than all the rest, and that's what I wanted for my IERC. I wanted a lot of performance in it, and I wanted a mullet build. So that is the stock width for a mount, whether it's a link riser, whether it's a servo mount, whatever. The V1 Isokinetics came with their own mount because it was proprietary. They were wider. Now when I ordered these two, they were V1 axles that came with V2 mounts, and as you can see, a V2 Isokinetic is back to stock width. Why you do me dirty like that? And I don't want to go and buy another set of axles just to whip the mounts off. They might not even come with the right mounts. Do they even make the right mounts anymore? I don't know. That's pretty piss poor if you ask me. But I'm going to have to customize something. Eat into this, either chop the servo mount, clearance those holes, and just kind of have the screw maybe just grabbing into the side of the servo mount or something. I don't know. But I've never given up, and I always seem to make it work. This is what that extendable drive shaft will be for, because it's got the super long rear, but it doesn't have a carrier bearing. This thing was cool though. It's going to be mad. You can see I've got a lot of stuff going on it. We've got the guards front and rear, that beautiful blue paint. everything matchy. I listened to what Yeti-Bilt and what's his name, Pocket Knife said. They don't like colours that don't match. Yeah, well, that's all the same blue, man. Just different surfaces. Even the servo, the boa mount, the rims. I don't know if you can see the rims inside there. It's all that nice deep ocean blue. Now, where's that other box? Where's that other pack? Here it is. RC Ritchie, this is what you're looking for, man. When you want to run, so I've got those 12mm mounts, these, no, wherever they were, these ones. That Yoda-Bilt will get one of these, 12mm mount. It'll get, where's that motor? There's a Yep motor around here somewhere, pancake style. It'll get that motor, and instead of having a solid bonnet like that, it'll have one like that. So that's what you're after, RC Ritchie. Maybe you can just cut into this one, give it a bit of clearance, but that's what she should look like. Okay, that's that out of the way. Back to axles. I'm sick of proprietary gear. I'm sick of knuckles that aren't the stock pattern. See that? Not stock pattern. Looks the same, but it isn't. Why would you do that? On the back here, you can see that these mullets, see how it doesn't quite line up on the edge there where my nail is? That's because I had to kind of shave it, force it, and make it fit. That is a V2 rear skid. Okay, plastic one. Doesn't fit the V2 mullet. They don't have a skid for the back. They don't have any other cover other than the one that came with them, which is somewhere around here, but it's going in the bin. So if you wanted to swap an alloy for a brass or something, you're shit out of luck. But I did make it fit. Had to force it. It's going to be a nice tight fit in there for the drive shaft, but that's all cool. This will be a good performer. But I do not like how much binding I got with the knuckles. And another thing was your hexes. Can you guys see the pin? See that hole? Shouldn't be able to see that hole. The pin should kind of sink into, see how it's deeper inside the hex? And that should be extended out on the drive shaft far enough that when I push this right the way in, there's no chance during rotation that the pin can fall out. I'm noticing with these V2s, the pins just drop out. You can screw wheels on if you want, it won't stop it, it's just going to drop out. Thankfully, when you get a set of mullets, or a set of any V2 Mias axle, they come with a lot of hardware. There's plenty of it lying around here. And you'll get some of these little O-rings, okay? Little O-ring like that. And what I've been doing is just pushing the O-ring halfway onto the hex before I install it. See how where my thumb is wrapped around the outside, but then the other side goes through the middle. And then I reach for my handy dandy something. Without moving my camera setup, I just get something thin, a little hex driver or whatever, and I poke it into the hole, grab what's going through the center of that O-ring, and just lift it out over the other part. So what I actually do, or effectively what I'm doing, is I'm covering the hole with an O-ring, and I sandwich all that onto the axle, screw the wheel on, and that stops the pin from falling out. But I shouldn't have to do that. Also, V2, my favorite axles, back to the V1s, man. V1 Super 8s. Why did the V2s opt for so many proprietary parts? Kind of bumming me out, man. I like that kind of shit. Now I've got some other stuff to show you guys, and it involves spider axles. Where are those other spiders? Oh, I've got them around here somewhere. Dun, dun, dun. Where the hell are they? Ah, here we go. So I got the fakes. Why did I get the fakes? Not for any other reason than, well, two reasons. Curiosity, but also I can't get Spider 9s from LGRP. Just can't get them. But here's the fakes. Now, at first glance, they look the same. but they're not. Now I assume that they'll be tooled out of the same machine and very similar, but not quite the same machine. These have no CNC lines on them, or very, very minimal. So it's a better finish on the originals than the fakes. I'll say that straight out of the gate. They both suffer from having too many joints and too much movement with all those pillow balls. 1, 2, 3, 4 stretching across the front, and it just means you get all this play. You get that with the originals too. You get all this play going on. Okay, you can hear it. All those things knocking around. Plenty of steering angle, and you don't get that with these ones. Steering angle's limited. The reason being, can you see how that hydraulic system, the rams are bottoming out there? So I'll either have to shave off the ends of this capture point, or bust this thread here and unscrew it a bit, then pack it with thread locker. It is just threaded, just like these ones, but you can see the length difference. Can you see that? The original Spider 9 has a longer arm. This part, this part here, versus this part. So these are threaded onto this little capture point here, and I'll just unthread this and hopefully regain some steering, because that's really the only advantage performance wise with the originals. There's actually a few disadvantages with these originals, and this is all just due to proprietary parts, man. Companies thinking they can redesign perfection. The stock SCX axle is really all you need, unless you want some extra width, you want some extra weight, you want some extra durability. Go with a V1 LGRP V1 Super 8. But if we take a look at the back here, see what I mean about how the tooling machines had to be the same but different. So what I'm looking at is this screw and this screw. And that's for the upper truss that holds your upper links. On this axle it's gone, but the holes are still there. See the two holes? Now, not only does this one have a proprietary link mount on it, it also has a proprietary servo mount. So you can't use aftermarket ones, you have to use theirs. If something goes wrong with it, you cross-thread it or something, you need a new one, hopefully they sell the parts. I think they do in brass, or... I mean, if they're a good company, they should sell the parts independently, but really? Can't I just use what I have on hand? No, you can't. You got to go through them and use their parts only. I don't like that. However, this is a far better system. Not only is it adjustable, and this one isn't, it is adjustable in many ways. So these two screws up here mean I can move this forward and back, meaning not only is my servo moving forward and back, but so are my upper link mounts. That's cool. The air tabs are also movable, a la BMSE from Mofo. And I've got different sized mounting holes, so I can use a 1.4 or a 2mm, whatever I prefer. The knuckles are slightly different, you'll notice, if you can see that. The knuckles are way different actually. They both have a brake caliper, operates in the same function, but this knuckle has a lot more clearance on it, so you can tuck a wheel back further. If I can sort the steering out, which I'll have to do on both sets, the fake one actually provides you with more option, more customizability and more performance. But at the end of the day, like I say, you're stuck with their parts. You're stuck with what that company provides you, because it doesn't have stock mounting points. I would just rather go with this bad boy. You know, I can use whatever stock style mounts, stock style knuckles, stock style everything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Anyway, that's my gripe. I don't know if you guys saw my sticker splash. Oh, and this guy too. Check out this body. I was working on this one all yesterday. Painted up all my parts, little pink washers. Little Miss Piggy got some action. Set the windows in, they're glued in. These are brass bearings, and I had to wallow out both sides to fit the curve of the cab and the curve of the exhaust stack. Then I had to wallow out both the insides of these hinges so that they didn't obstruct the bearing, but it all came together cool, man. That's going to be one rad rig. There she is. I'll give you a better look. Yeah. And the Yoda. And a tennis ball. Cool, man. Love your family, love your friends, and be kind to the animals. That includes your family and friends. Sure.